This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter and welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today has been long dead, but let's not forget that there is a reason why I'm putting this guy in today for November the 6th. He is the inventor of the game of basketball. Yes, that's the famous picture of him holding a peach basket with a ball that looks like a basketball, not like the basketballs we all know from today, but it is James Naismith, who was born November 6, 1861. So that's why he's here and all of that. Naismith was born in Almonte, Ontario, close to Ottawa. Yeah, he never actually had a middle name, but a Kansas administrator put the A in front of it. I don't know why. Anyway, Naismith actually lived with his aunt and uncle for a while, but he graduated from high school in 1883 and then went to McGill. He was versatile, even though he was 5'10 and a half, but I mean, 5'10 and a half, that's close to my height. He was with McGill for football, lacrosse, well, American football, lacrosse, rugby, soccer, and gymnastics. Anyway, he was a good gymnast and all that. He earned a bachelor's arts. I don't know what I forgot what BA stands for. Bachelor of Arts in Education, phys ed in 1888. So he actually taught phys ed for 3 years and became the first McGill director of athletics, but then left Montreal to go to the YMCA training school in Springfield, Massachusetts, where the YMCA existed. He was actually a student at that Springfield school, coached by one of the most famous coaches before 1920 by the name of Amos Alonso Stagg. Well, he completed the YMCA Physical Director Training Program, and he was a full-time faculty member. So anyway, while at the YMCA, he struggled with a rowdy class that was confined to indoor games because of the New England weather. And he was told to create an indoor game that would provide an athletic distraction. Doesn't want it to take up too much room, keep its track athletes in shape, and make it fair for all players. Naismith was guided by 3 thoughts. He analyzed the most popular games of the time, rugby, lacrosse, soccer, football, hockey, and baseball. Noticing the hazards of a ball, and said that a big soft soccer ball was safest. He saw that most physical contacts occurred while running with the ball and all that, so passing was legal and all that. And Naismith said that he wanted to make the goal unguardable by placing it high above the players' heads so that they could see the ball, but they can't make body contact. And he forced the players to score goals by throwing a pass into the goal. He wanted a pair of boxes, but the janitor brought him peach baskets instead. So he put up the 13 basic rules of basketball. The original rules were like this. The ball may be thrown in any direction with one or both hands. The ball may be batted in any direction with one or both hands, but not with the fist. A player cannot run with the ball. The player must throw it from the spot on which he catches it. Allowance to be made for a man who catches the ball while running at good speed. The ball must be held in or between the hands. The arms and the body must not be used for holding it. No shouldering, holding, pushing, tripping, or striking in any way the person of the opponent shall be allowed. The first infringement of this rule shall count as a foul. The second shall disqualify him until the next goal is made, or if there is evident intent to injure the person for the whole of the game. No substitute allowed. A foul is striking at the ball with the fist, described in Rule 345. If either side makes 3 consecutive fouls, it shall count a goal for the opponents. A goal shall be made when the ball is thrown or batted from the ground into the basket and stays there without falling, provided those defending the goal do not touch or disturb the goal. If the ball rests on the edge and the opponent moves the basket, it's a goal. When the ball goes out of bounds, it should be thrown into the field and played by the first person touching it. In case of dispute, the umpire shall throw it straight into the field. The thrower is allowed 5 seconds. If he holds it longer, it goes to the opponent. If any side persists in delaying the game, it should be a foul by the umpire. The umpire should be the judge of the men and shall note the fouls and notify the referee when 3 consecutive fouls have been made. And he can disqualify people according to Rule 5. The referee shall be judge of the ball and shall decide when the ball is applied inbounds to which it belongs and shall keep the time. He shall decide when a goal has been made and keep account of the goals with any other duty that is performed by a referee. The time shall be 2 15-minute halves with 5 minutes rest in between. The side making the most goals in that time is to cut the winner. In case of a draw game, may continue until another goal is made. That manuscript was purchased a couple of years ago for a lot of money. Anyway, the first such game was December 1891. But then he changed it. Those things were January 1892. Of course, the problem was there was no hole in the peach basket. Anyway, the original rules didn't do anything about a dribble and all that. And of course, following each shot, a jump ball was taken to the middle of the court. That doesn't happen anymore. So, anyway, March 12, 1892 was the first public basketball game, and the students beat the faculty 5-1. So, anyway, basketball was introduced internationally by the YMCA movement in 1893. Naismith left Springfield to head to Denver to get a medical degree and joined the University of Kansas. So it was amazing. Anyway, there were a few people disputing Naismith's stuff, but that can't be held. Anyway, the University of Kansas started their basketball program following Naismith's arrival in 1898, 6 years after the official rules. Naismith was not initially hired to coach basketball, but as a chapel director and physical education instructor. And in the early days, the majority of those basketball games were played with YMCA teams and all that. Naismith actually coached the team to a 55-60 mark. The only Kansas coach ever to have a losing record. That's pathetic. Like Naismith is the only one. However, Naismith did coach Fog Allen, his successor at Kansas, who would be legendary in giving Kansas a voice in the basketball industry. All that. Fog Allen actually coached at Kansas Dean Smith and Adolph Rupp, both fantastic head coaches of their own right in college basketball. Basketball was a demonstration sport at the 1904 Summer Olympics, but would not get to the Olympics till 1936 when the U.S. beat Canada in the first ever Olympic final. Yes, Canada has an Olympic silver medal in basketball, but that was almost a century ago. Anyway, he actually was more interested in his physical education career. He actually patrolled the Mexican border for 4 months in 1916, traveled to France, and published a few books. He took American citizenship in 1925. He was still a Canadian. He was the de facto athletic director for much of the 20th century for Kansas. But the problem with Naismith was that he did not allow African Americans on the Kansas varsity team. But he did engineer the admission of black students to the swimming pool. Until then, they were given automatic passing grades on a swimming test because they wanted it all white. Anyway, Naismith did his stuff and all that. Naismith was the one who handed out the medals to U.S., Canada, and Mexico in Berlin. He was named the honorary president of the International Basketball Federation. And he actually played a role in the formation of the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletes, or NAIA for short. He retired in 1937 at the age of 76. He worked at school for almost 4 decades, but he would suffer a fatal brain hemorrhage. Anyway, Naismith has the honor of having the basketball court at Allen Fieldhouse in Kansas, at the University of Kansas, named after him. So he's got that and all that. Yeah, he's still the losingest coach in Kansas history. Well, under 500. In fact, only in 1899 and 1906 did he go above 500. But do we really need to dwell on that and all that? He's been in many Canadian and American Hall of Fames. The World Cup, the Basketball World Cup trophy is named the Naismith Trophy in honor of him. So yeah, he was the inaugural inductee into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, as it's now called, in Springfield, Massachusetts, in 1959. Monte holds a big 3-on-3 tournament and all that. Over 300 million people play basketball worldwide. So anyway, yeah. So in 2010, Josh Swade, a basketball enthusiast, paid $4.3 million for the original rules of James Naismith for basketball. So yeah, Naismith did what he could. He married his sweetheart and had 5 children. The weird thing is that he would marry a second wife after Ma died. And then he died himself within 5 months. And Naismith died just 8 months after the first NCAA basketball championship. His second wife would actually ended up living till 98. So yeah, he had lots of job to do with basketball. And that's all there is to it. Hail Dr. James Naismith. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.